Because I have a Danish girlfriend, I've been to Denmark several times. And it's very easy for an American to get around Denmark in the big cities or the small towns because most people speak fairly good English. But I'm probably going to be going back, my Danish girlfriend, and she visits her parents about once a year. So I want to go back and I want to feel more at home. So I am going to start to learn how to speak Danish. Why? So I can walk around cities and towns and not just be a sightseer. I'm going to understand what I'm looking at. I want to be able to read and understand the signs. I want to hear and understand the announcements. And I want to reach out to people in Denmark in ways that are a little more interesting and sincere than just where's the toilet and where can I get a hot dog. Yet probably the biggest reason I want to learn how to speak Danish, or at least some amount of Danish, is because her parents don't really speak English. Yes, they understand English, and at one point my girlfriend said they spoke English pretty well, but they're out of practice. And they are, as they say, of the generation that didn't begin learning English at about age 6. So I never have a conversation with them. I don't see them eye to eye. In fact, every time we communicate, it's like it has to go through my girlfriend, a translator. And I feel like Richard Nixon probably did when he visited China. The only formal language training I had was in French, but that didn't go so well. I think a lot because the teachers were French, and they didn't want anyone, particularly someone like me, butchering their language. And learning to speak Danish is going to be even more of a challenge. First of all, they don't even use the same alphabet. They have more letters. In fact, they have more vowels, which if you look at it right there, makes playing Wheel of Fortune a tougher challenge. Secondly, they pronounce letter combinations completely differently than I do in English. For example, take the letter combination B-Y. In English, it is by, like by rod, or by the sea. But in Danish, it's b, as in sæbe. And I don't even get the b right. My girlfriend's always correcting me. It's not b, it's boo, boo, boo. You know, I tried boo, boo. I mean, if that's the case, not only am I going to have trouble learning Danish, but it's really hard for a ghost to live in Denmark. And probably the hardest thing about learning Danish is that when you start to listen to people speaking Danish, it's hard to even pick out the individual words. They just seem to go from one word to another. I mean, I have heard of run-on sentences, but I've never heard of run-on words. I mean, just take a listen to this conversation my girlfriend had with her father. What did they say? I mean, could you really pick out any particular word? I mean, it sounds like a low rumbling motorboat. Yes, they sounded just like that. So I'm telling you, learning Danish is not going to be easy. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to do what everyone else does today. I'm going to get an app. Because it seems as though if you want to solve a problem today or you want to accomplish something, you get an app. Now, even if getting the app doesn't really help me learn how to speak Danish, it will alleviate one problem. It will allow me, when someone asks me, well, did you get an app to learn Danish? I go, yeah, I got an app to learn Danish. And there's a number of them. If anyone out there has any tips or advice on how I might proceed to learn Danish more efficiently, or if you have gone through the trouble and would like to be a virtual mentor to me, I would love to hear any thoughts and advice, and write them, please, down in the comments below. And subscribe so you, whether whether you want to take pride in my accomplishments or you're kind of a sadist and wants to see me as I struggle with the Danish language, subscribe. And then you could see another video of me learning about language. We might have a thumbnail like this. Yes, it's going to be hard, but I want to learn a little Danish and be more comfortable with the language and the country. So I can go and explore the country, and I can read the signs and understand what's going on at a museum or at a restaurant. And I can hear the announcements in the trains so that I know what town is the next town and how many minutes we're going to take to get there. I don't have any illusions that I am going to be fluent in Danish in 6 months or 6 years or even in the rest of my life, because that is not the point. I am not studying Danish language so I can get a postdoctoral degree in some university in Denmark so I can write a PhD about the postmodern effect of literature on Hans Christian Andersen. Yes, there's always Hans Christian Andersen when you talk about Denmark. But most importantly, I am learning Danish so I can communicate with my girlfriend's parents. I think if I know a little Danish and I speak a little Danish to them, I'll show them that I want to communicate with them. And they'll take that and maybe they'll start to think, well, maybe I can do it with my English. And so they'll feel a little more comfortable with English, and then I'll be talking a little Danish, they'll be talking a little English, then they'll correct my Danish, I'll add to their English, and then we'll have some kind of Danish-English melange. And whether we're just talking about the horse meets the cow, or the cow is black and white, or I am eating a delicious yellow banana, at least we will be communicating with each other, and we'll be looking at each other in each other's eyes, and we'll be making a connection. And isn't that the most important thing when you're with people and you're visiting another country and another culture and other new people, is to be able to make a connection? That's what I want. I just want to make a connection. Learning Danish is a means to an end, and hopefully it will end in an excellent fashion. Thank you kindly.